Be me, 34, finally enjoying the life I built from scratch. Have a successful career in hen reading, make decent money, travel when I want, answer to nobody. Finally agreed to grab coffee with this guy from the running club because my friends won't shut up about how I need to put myself out there. Not that I need a man, obviously, but I'm open to meeting someone who actually deserves my time and energy. Sit down at the coffee shop, he's already there, looks presentable enough. We do the usual small talk about running routes and marathon training. Conversation eventually shifts to relationships, because of course it does. He asks me what I'm looking for, and I give him my honest answer. Tell him I want someone ambitious, someone who has their life together, makes good money, stays in shape, is emotionally intelligent, can hold a conversation about substantive topics. Basically someone who operates at my level, you know. Also mention that he needs to be feminist, supportive of my career, willing to do equal housework, doesn't expect me to be some domestic servant. The guy nods along, seems to be listening. Then he leans back in his chair with this little smile, asks me, "So what do you bring to the table?" I literally feel my face get hot. Such a typical male question, reducing relationships to some kind of transaction. Tell him that I bring plenty, I have a career, I'm independent, I'm interesting, I'm educated. He just keeps looking at me with that same expression. Says, "Right, but you just listed a bunch of things you want in a man: ambition, money, fitness, emotional intelligence. You have those things for yourself, which is great, but that's baseline, that's just being a functional adult. What do you offer in a relationship specifically?" Cannot believe the audacity. Try to explain that I don't have to justify my worth to anyone, that I'm a complete person on my own. He interrupts me, still calm, still with that annoying little smile. "I'm not saying you're not a complete person. I'm asking what you contribute to a partnership beyond just existing as an independent person. You have standards for men, which is fine, but what standards do you hold yourself to as a partner? Start listing things off, because I'm not going to let this guy think he's cornered me. Tell him I'm loyal, I'm honest, I communicate well, I'm supportive." He asks, Are you supportive?" Of course I am. I literally just said that. He continues, "Because you just spent 10 minutes telling me about all the ways a man needs to support you, your career, your ambitions, splitting housework so you're not burdened. But you haven't mentioned once how you'd support him. Try to explain that supporting each other goes both ways, that I obviously would support a partner." He asks specifically how. Getting more irritated now because this feels like an interrogation. Tell him that I would support my partner's career growth, be there emotionally, listen to his problems. He nods, then asks, "Would you relocate for his career the way you expect him to be flexible for yours?" "That's different. I've worked hard to build my career here. I can't just uproot my life." Tell him that in modern relationships, both people need to make their careers work in the same location. Compromise. He says, "But what if his dream job is in another city? Would you consider moving?" Well, he could find something else. There are always other opportunities. The guy actually laughs, not meanly, but like he's proved a point. So he should compromise his career ambitions for yours, but you won't do the same for his. And you want a high-earning, ambitious man, but also one who will prioritize your ambitions over his own. Do you see the contradiction? Tell him that's not what I'm saying at all. He's twisting my words. He shrugs. "I'm just listening to what you're telling me." Decide to turn it around on him. Ask him what he brings to the table, since he's so concerned with contributions. He doesn't hesitate, just starts listing things off. Says he's financially stable, owns his home, cooks well, enjoys taking care of his space, makes time for people he cares about, actively works on his communication skills, goes to therapy. Also says he's comfortable with traditional gender roles or modern ones, whatever his partner prefers, as long as there's actual balance and both people are happy. Then he says, "But I also know that my standards for a partner need to match what I offer. I'm not looking for a supermodel who cooks like a chef and earns 6 figures while raising kids. I'm realistic." The implication is that I'm not being realistic. Tell him that women shouldn't have to lower their standards just because men are intimidated by successful women. He laughs again, and it's really starting to piss me off. I'm not intimidated by successful women. I'm pointing out that you want someone who is successful, ambitious, and high-earning, but also someone who will deprioritize those very qualities to support yours. You want someone fit and healthy, but what's your fitness level? You want emotional intelligence, but are you emotionally intelligent? You want equal housework, but do you bring equal income? Or do you want equal housework regardless of who works more or earns more? Start to answer, but he keeps going. And before you answer, really think about it. If you're asking a man to earn good money, be ambitious, stay fit, be emotionally available, do half the housework, support your career fully, be a feminist, and basically mold himself into whatever you need while you just show up as you are and call it independence. That's not equality, that's entitlement. Cannot even form words for a second because I'm so angry. Tell him he doesn't know anything about me or what I've been through as a woman in the workplace. Explain that women have to work twice as hard for half the recognition, that we're still fighting for basic equality. He nods along. Sure, and that's valid on a societal level, but we're talking about individual relationships right now. What does societal inequality have to do with whether you specifically are a good partner? Everything. It has everything to do with it. Women are exhausted from fighting just to be treated as equals. So yes, we need partners who understand that and step up. He sips his coffee. Step up how? By doing more than their share to compensate for society's unfairness to you. Well, when he puts it like that, it sounds bad, but that's not what I mean. Try to explain that I need someone who understands the emotional labor women carry, the mental load, all the invisible work we do. He asks, what invisible work do you do in a relationship? Are you kidding me right now? Tell him about how women are always the ones remembering birthdays, planning social events, managing the household calendar, thinking about what needs to be done. He says, do you do that, or is that something you've read about women doing? Of course I do that. All women do. He raises an eyebrow. You're single. You've been single for how long? 3 years, not that it's any of his business. So you haven't actually managed a household calendar or planned events for a partner in 3 years, but you're already anticipating that you'll do all that invisible labor and need to be compensated for it? That's not the point. The point is that women are conditioned to do these things, and it's exhausting. He leans forward, getting more animated now. Here's what I think is happening. You've read a lot about feminist theory, about emotional labor and mental load, and women's struggles, all real things, all valid. But you've internalized them as reasons why you personally deserve more while offering less. You've turned systemic issues into personal entitlements. Absolutely not. That's a complete mischaracterization. He continues, you want a high-value man, your words earlier, not mine, but you haven't interrogated what makes you high value beyond just being a woman with a job and opinions. You think your standards are high, but really you just want someone to make your life easier while you make his life more complicated. Stand up, because I'm not going to sit here and be insulted. Tell him this was clearly a waste of time, and that he's exactly the kind of man who feels threatened by women who know their worth. He doesn't stand, just looks up at me. I'm not threatened by you. I'm just not interested in being with someone who sees relationships as something they deserve rather than something they build. You're looking for someone to complete you while insisting you don't need completion. You want partnership without being a partner. Grab my bag and tell him to enjoy his coffee. He says, for what it's worth, I hope you find what you're looking for, but until you figure out what you're actually offering, you're going to keep being disappointed. Walk out without responding because there's nothing to say to someone so clearly stuck in patriarchal thinking. Get to my car and just sit there for a minute. Cannot believe the nerve of that guy. Text my friend Sarah about what just happened. She responds, asking what I said when he asked what I bring to the table. Tell her I said all the right things. Independence, career, loyalty. She doesn't respond for a while. Finally texts back, but what do you actually offer in a relationship, not just as a person, but as a partner? Not her too. Put my phone away and drive home. Spend the whole drive mentally rehearsing all the things I should have said. Should have told him that my presence is valuable, that the right man would recognize my worth without me having to justify it. Should have explained that women don't need to sell themselves to men anymore. Should have walked out sooner. Get home and pour a glass of wine. Try to watch TV but keep replaying the conversation. The audacity to compare my standards to his, like they're equivalent. Men don't face the same pressures women do. They don't have biological clocks. They don't have to worry about safety. They don't deal with workplace discrimination. My standards are high because they have to be, because settling is how women end up doing everything while men coast. Pour another glass of wine. Start thinking about my last relationship 3 years ago. Ended because he wasn't ambitious enough, didn't make enough money, wasn't willing to do enough around the house. Told him I needed a partner who could match my energy. He said I never seemed satisfied with anything he did. That was his problem, not mine. He should have done better. Think about the relationship before that. Ended because he was too focused on his career. Never had time for me, always prioritizing work. Told him I needed someone who would be present and emotionally available. He said I wanted him to be successful, but also resented his success. Also his problem, he should have found better balance. Finish the second glass of wine. Start scrolling through dating apps, even though I know it's a bad idea. Swipe through dozens of profiles. This one's too short. This one doesn't look like he makes good money. This one has a fish picture. Immediate no. This one's bio is boring. This one looks like he'd expect me to be a housewife. Close the apps because everyone on there is trash anyway. Think about calling Sarah, but I know she'll just ask more questions. I don't want to answer. Maybe call my sister instead. No, she's been annoying lately too. Keeps asking when I'm going to settle down. As if settling down is some kind of achievement. I'm perfectly happy alone. I don't need a man. I just want one who meets my standards. Is that so wrong? Pour a third glass even though I know I shouldn't. Start thinking about what that guy said about what I offer. I offer plenty. I'm successful, I'm smart, I keep myself in decent shape. Well, I could stand to lose 10 pounds, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm a catch. Any man would be lucky to have me. So, why has it been 3 years? No, that's the wine talking. It's been 3 years because men are intimidated. Because they can't handle a woman who knows what she wants. Because they're stuck in traditional mindsets. Not because of anything I'm doing wrong. Definitely not because of my standards. My standards are fine. My standards are necessary. Think about my coupled up friends. Jessica married a guy who makes less than her and she seems happy. But she also does most of the housework. So what's the point of having a husband if you're still doing everything? Although she says he does help and he cooks dinner every night. But still, she could have done better. Megan is engaged to a guy who's nice enough but kind of boring. They seem content though. Boring sounds awful, I'd rather be alone. Although they laugh a lot when they're together. But that's not enough, you need more than just getting along. Rachel has been with her boyfriend for 5 years, they just moved in together. He's in grad school so he doesn't make much money. She supports both of them mostly. But she says she doesn't mind because he does all the cooking and cleaning and is really supportive of her career. Sounds like she settled to me. Although she did get that big promotion last year and he threw her a surprise party. That was actually really sweet. No, stop it. Stop comparing. I'm not going to lower my standards just because other people have. I deserve someone who checks all the boxes. Successful, ambitious, fit, emotionally intelligent, feminist, supportive, does equal housework, wants kids but will do equal parenting, makes good money but won't expect me to do traditional wife things. That's not asking for too much. That's just knowing my worth. Finish the third glass. Look at my reflection in the dark TV screen. When did I start looking so tired? Think about what that guy asked about fitness. I do run. I'm in the running club. That's where we met. Although I've skipped the last few weeks, and I'm not as consistent as I used to be. But I'm still more fit than most people my age. Probably. Think about what he said about emotional intelligence. I'm very emotionally intelligent. I go to therapy. Well, I went to therapy. I stopped going because my therapist kept asking questions that felt judgmental. She kept wanting to talk about my relationship patterns. As if there's a pattern. Just because I've had several relationships end for similar reasons doesn't mean it's a pattern. It means I have consistent standards. Get up to pour another glass, but the bottle's empty. When did that happen? Consider opening another bottle, but decide against it. I look at my phone, it's only 8:30. Friday night, and I'm home alone with empty wine bottles. No, I'm home alone by choice. I could go out if I wanted. I choose not to because I'm tired from my week. I work hard. I deserve to rest. Think about texting someone to hang out. But Sarah's probably with her boyfriend. And Jessica's probably doing family stuff, and I don't really feel like being around couples anyway. Open the dating app again. Scroll mindlessly. Think about what that guy said about being realistic. My standards aren't unrealistic. There are men out there who meet them. Probably. Definitely. I just haven't met them yet. Or I have met them and they weren't interested. No, that's not it. They were interested, but they weren't right for me. Big difference. Think about Henry from 2 years ago. He was successful, made good money, was in great shape. We dated for 3 months. Ended it because he didn't seem emotionally available enough. He was always calm, never really showed much emotion. I needed more passion, more intensity. Although thinking back, maybe he was just stable. Maybe his calmness was actually emotional regulation. No, I was right to end it. I need someone who shows emotions. Then there was Mateo last year. He was very emotional, very in touch with his feelings. We dated for 6 weeks. Ended it because he was too sensitive, always wanting to talk about his feelings. I needed someone more stoic, more stable. Wait. No, those are different things. Henry was emotionally unavailable. Mateo was emotionally needy. I need someone in the middle. That's perfectly reasonable. Sit with my phone in my hand, not really looking at anything. Think about what my therapist used to say. She said something about how I tend to find problems in everyone I date. Said it might be a defense mechanism. I told her that was ridiculous, I just have standards. She asked what I was protecting myself from by keeping everyone at arm's length. I stopped going after that session. Clearly, she didn't understand me. I look at the clock. It's 9 now. Think about tomorrow's plans. I don't have any. Sunday either. Another weekend alone. By choice, obviously. Get up and wash my wine glass. Catch my reflection in the kitchen window. 34 years old. Successful career. Nice condo. Good life. So why does that guy's question keep echoing in my head? What do you bring to the table? I bring everything. I bring myself. That should be enough. The right man would think that's enough. Sit back down on the couch. Pull up social media. Scroll through photos of friends with their partners. Everyone looks happy. Probably just for the photos, though. Probably fighting when the cameras are off. And see a post from Jessica about her husband surprising her with flowers just because. Roll my eyes, but also feel something twist in my chest. When was the last time anyone gave me flowers? Probably that guy I dated 4 years ago who turned out to be awful. See, Rachel posted about her boyfriend making her favorite dinner after a hard day. Comments full of people saying how sweet he is. Think about how I make my own dinners after hard days. Because I'm independent. Because I don't need anyone to take care of me. Close social media. Open my messages. Scroll through old conversations. A lot of conversations that just ended. A lot of guys who stopped responding. A lot of guys I stopped responding to. Mostly the latter. Because they weren't good enough. Because they didn't meet my standards. Because I deserve better. Think about that guy today, asking if I'm supportive. Of course I'm supportive. I would be supportive to the right person. It's not my fault. I haven't met the right person. Open a new bottle of wine. Definitely shouldn't, but here we are. Think about what he said about wanting someone to make my life easier while making his harder. That's not what I want. I want partnership. I want equality. I want someone who enhances my life. Isn't that what everyone wants? Sit there drinking wine and thinking. Think about my requirements. Successful but not too busy. Ambitious but available. Makes good money but will split housework equally regardless of income disparity. Emotionally intelligent but not too sensitive. Stable but passionate. Feminist but masculine. Write them all out on my phone. Stare at the list. Is it long? Maybe it's long. But women are allowed to have standards. We're told to have standards. We're told not to settle. Delete the list. Feel worse somehow. Pour more wine. Think about my friends again. They all settled, clearly. They're with men who don't check all the boxes. But they seem happy. Happier than me. No, that's the wine talking again. I'm happy. I'm very happy. I have everything I want. Except I'm alone on a Friday night drinking wine and spiraling. But that's just tonight. Most nights I'm fine. Great, even. Think about what that guy said about turning systemic issues into personal entitlements. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just aware of what women face. I'm just protecting myself. I'm just making sure I don't end up like my mother, doing everything while my father did nothing. Wait, is that what this is about? No, this is about having standards. This is about knowing my worth. This is about not settling. Finish another glass. My head is starting to hurt. Think about texting that guy to tell him off properly. Realize I don't have his number. Probably for the best. He was an asshole anyway. But also, what if he was right? No, he wasn't right. He was trying to manipulate me. He was trying to make me doubt myself. Classic male tactic. Undermine a woman's confidence so she'll lower her standards. I see right through it. Except, what if I don't see through it? What if I'm missing something? Lie down on the couch. Room spinning a little. Think about being 34. Think about being single for 3 years. Think about the years before that, the string of relationships that never worked. Think about the common denominator. No, don't think about that. It's not me. It's them. It's always been them. They weren't good enough. They didn't meet my standards. Close my eyes. See that guy's face, that annoying, calm expression. What do you bring to the table? Everything. I bring everything, don't I? I must fall asleep because suddenly it's dark and my phone is ringing. It's Sarah. Answer groggily. She asks if I'm okay. Tell her I'm fine, just fell asleep on the couch. She says she's worried about me. Ask her why. She says I've seemed unhappy lately. I'm not unhappy. I'm perfectly happy. She's quiet for a second. Then she asks if I want to talk about what happened with that guy from running club. Tell her he was an asshole who thinks women should justify their worth to men. She says that's not what she heard. Apparently he's friends with her boyfriend. Apparently he told a different version of the story. Ask what he said. She hesitates. Then says he told her boyfriend that he really liked me, but I seemed more interested in what a man could do for me than in actually building something together. That's not true. That's completely unfair. She's quiet again. Then she asks, gently, "Is it though?" Feel tears starting and I don't even know why. Tell her I have to go. She says she loves me and she's here if I want to talk. Hang up. Sit in the dark. Cry a little, which is stupid. I don't cry over men. I don't need men. I have my career and my condo and my independence. I have everything I need. So why does it feel like something's missing? No, nothing's missing. I'm complete on my own. That's what feminism taught me. That's what I believe. Lie back down. Think about that question again. What do you bring to the table? Try to answer it honestly this time. Not what I think I should say. Not what sounds good. What do I actually bring? I'm loyal except when someone doesn't meet my standards. I'm supportive except I've never actually had to support someone through something hard because I leave before things get hard. I'm independent, which is good, but maybe also I use it as a shield. I want equality, but I want a man who earns more than me and is more successful than me, but will also deprioritize his success for mine. I want someone fit, but I'm not as fit as I used to be. I want emotional intelligence, but I stopped going to therapy because it was uncomfortable. I want someone who does equal housework, but I've never actually shared a house with someone long enough to know if I'd hold up my end. Sit up. Feel sick, and it's not just the wine. What if I'm the problem? What if I've been the problem all along? What if my standards aren't high, they're just impossible? What if I'm using feminism as an excuse to never be vulnerable? What if I'm so afraid of ending up like my mother that I won't let anyone close enough to hurt me? What if that guy was right? Stand up too fast, room spins. Go to the bathroom and stare at myself in the mirror. 34 years old. Successful. Independent. Alone. Very, very alone. And whose fault is that? Want to say it's men's fault. Want to say it's society's fault. Want to say it's anyone's fault but mine. But standing here drunk and crying on a Friday night. Maybe it's time to admit. Maybe. Just maybe. I don't actually know what I bring to the table. And that's terrifying. Because if I don't know what I offer, then how can I demand so much in return? Slide down to sit on the bathroom floor. This is rock bottom, probably. Drunk on the bathroom floor, crying over a coffee date with a guy whose name I barely remember. Except I do remember his name. And I remember his face. And I remember the way he looked at me. Not with contempt. Not with anger. Just with this sad kind of clarity. Like he could see right through me. Like he knew I was full of shit before I did. Sit there for a long time. Eventually get up and brush my teeth. Go to bed, even though it's only 10. Lie in the dark. Think about Monday. Think about going back to work. Think about my nice office and my successful career. Think about coming home to my nice condo. Alone. Think about next weekend. And the weekend after that. And all the weekends stretching out ahead. Think about being 40 and alone. 50 and alone. 60 and alone. Is this what I want? Did I choose this? Or did I build a prison out of standards and call it self-respect? Close my eyes. See that guy's face again. Hear his voice. Until you figure out what you're actually offering, you're going to keep being disappointed. He's right. I hate that he's right. But he's right. Fall asleep finally. Dream about lists. Long lists of requirements. Checking boxes. Nothing ever checking all the boxes. Wake up with a headache. Saturday morning. Alone. Like always. Check my phone. No messages except one from Sarah asking if I'm okay. Don't respond. Lie in bed. Think about everything. Think about changing. Think about lowering my standards. No, not lowering. Maybe just examining them. Maybe just being honest about what I can actually offer in exchange for what I'm demanding. Maybe just being willing to be vulnerable. Maybe just being willing to build something instead of demanding someone arrive fully built. Get up eventually. Make coffee. Sit on my balcony. Nice view. Nice condo. Nice life. Empty life. Think about texting Sarah back. Think about asking if that guy might want to try again. No, too humiliating. But also, what do I have to lose? Besides my pride. And what has my pride gotten me? Sit there with my coffee. Thinking, maybe I'll text Sarah. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll figure out what I actually bring to the table. Maybe I'll keep pretending I don't need to. Sit there alone, successful, independent, entitled, insufferable, and finally, aware of it.